Is the MCU finally back? This is a question that's being thrown around a lot recently thanks to the success of the Thunderbolts, and to be quite honest, this question's been thrown around over the past few years after any good Marvel project. It's definitely an interesting question because there's no doubt the MCU has been facing its fair share of struggles recently. I mean, the way I look at it, you have stages within the MCU. This isn't the official phases, it's just kind of my own way of looking at it. You had your stage 1 where you got your first few Captain America movies, you got the Iron Man movies, some Thor movies, overall just introducing characters. Then stage 2 brought us some of the Avengers movies, finished out the Captain America trilogy, and connected a lot of the characters. Then stage 3 expanded the MCU with the Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and more. And then stage 4 was sort of the conclusion to this story with Infinity War and Endgame. These two movies were essentially the culmination of a decade's worth of movies, and I think they did a great job wrapping this story up. Also, I think Infinity War needs to get more credit for how well it handles like 20 plus different characters without feeling rushed or jam-packed. Like sure, some characters are more important than others, but it feels like every character within the movie at least had a purpose, and it didn't feel like anyone got like shafted. But yeah, those two movies were like the finale of the MCU, if you will, or I guess the finale for this specific story, because at this point we've continued for about 6 more years since Endgame. So stage 5 is what I consider the post-Endgame phase. This is the one that gave you a ton of projects, movies, and shows. This is where everyone started becoming hypercritical of the MCU, and probably for good reason. A lot of mid came out of this stage, and it was kind of just a content overload. We got movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Marvels, Eternals, Thor Love and Thunder. These are generally some pretty disliked MCU movies. Then you have your mid-tier stuff, which I think is like Multiverse of Madness and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Like there was some good stuff within these movies that you can pick out, but overall they were kind of just okay, I feel like. And then you did actually have some bangers within this stage, like Guardians 3. You had Spider-Man No Way Home. People say Shang-Chi is really good. I've never seen it. And then I'm actually a huge fan of Spider-Man Far From Home, but that may be a bit of a controversial take. And then you have your MCU Disney Plus shows, which for me are kind of all over the place. I think there's some good, a lot of mid, and some bad. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier gave us a lot of really cool moments. And then I had a lot of fun with Hawkeye personally. There's some other good ones, but I'd say for the most part, the Disney Plus shows feel very mid to me. And then now I'd say we're pretty much back in present day with stage 6, which began with Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of this movie. I think it's very funny, it's a good time, but I think it's kind of a mess of a movie. I think all the multiversal stuff, the plot in general, it's kind of all over the place, but I cannot deny that this movie did some amazing things for the MCU. It was the MCU's first billion-dollar movie since, I think, No Way Home, correct me if I'm wrong, so that's pretty huge. It also just brought back some of that excitement and hype for the MCU that we probably haven't felt in a long time, so that was nice. And then after that, we got Captain America Brave New World, and I think this movie gets a little too much hate. I'm not trying to argue that it's a really good movie or anything. I think it's just okay. Like, I personally enjoyed it. I had fun with it, but people act like this is one of the worst MCU movies of all time, and I just do not see it. I know Red Hulk was sorely misused, and the movie doesn't feel as important as a Captain America movie probably should feel. Like, especially in this day and age, most of the Avengers are gone, and Captain America needs to build his new team. Like, this should have been a very big movie, so I understand the criticisms. And then we got Daredevil Born Again, which I'm a huge Daredevil fan. I enjoyed this show a lot, even though it does have its flaws. You can very obviously tell that there were a ton of ideas, a ton of changes made to this show. Like, some episodes straight up feel like an entirely different show than other episodes. But overall, I'd say this is still a big W for the MCU. Like, maybe when you compare Born Again to the previous seasons of Daredevil, you can get critical about it, but overall, Daredevil Born Again is a very quality project for the MCU to have, all things considered. And now we're finally to present day with the Thunderbolts, and if you somehow haven't gotten the chance to see this movie yet, there will be spoilers, although it's been out for a while, so I guess we're good. But yeah, this movie was a ton of fun. I liked just about every character in it, which is pretty impressive, right? Like, there's always at least one character in the big team-up movie who you don't really care for, or maybe you just dislike, but in this movie, I kind of liked everyone. Obviously, Yelena was the standout. I became more of a John Walker fan. Ghost did her thing. She has cool powers. I liked Bucky, but I mean, that's Bucky. I was always gonna like him in this movie. And then the Red Guardian is pretty funny. I also thought Sentry, or I guess the Void, was was a cool villain, pretty unique. So yeah, this movie was not only just a good movie, but it finally set something up for the future of the MCU in a good way, which we know will definitely be capitalized on. As we know, the Thunderbolts are now the new Avengers, so we're going to be seeing them again very, very soon. Also, we finally got a cool post-credit scene that actually builds hype for the next project, so that's cool. I've been missing something like that. And now we're actually in the present day, post-Thunderbolts. So let's go back to the question, is the MCU back? It's pretty vague, but I would say yes, it is back, or at the very least, it's well on its way back. Because we're coming off of Daredevil Born Again, which was a hit, and then we got Thunderbolts, which was a massive hit, and in a few months, we've got the Fantastic Four. Say what you want about how this movie looks from the trailers, but if this movie is good, if it's relatively successful at the box office, and if it does a good job of setting up Doomsday, which I think it has to, then I think it would be difficult to deny that the MCU is back. That would make 3 very good projects in a row, all the while setting us up with a very eventful near future. Because if Fantastic Four is good, well then next year we have Avengers Doomsday, which we know the Fantastic Four is going to be heavily involved in. On top of that, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out next year, which I think apparently is supposed to be a more grounded story, which will be pretty refreshing for this MCU Spider-Man. And then Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is supposed to come out next year, and word on the street is the writers of Season 2 are the same writers that wrote episodes, I think 7, 8, and 1 of Season 1, I think. I may be a little bit off, but basically the writers who wrote the really good episodes of Season 1 are writing all of Season 2. So that should be a plus. We're actually going to have a full cohesive season with an overarching plan that doesn't feel all over the place due to having multiple changes, multiple writers, like Season 1 did. So yeah, Season 2 should be a banger, especially with the way the finale ended. Like, Wilson Fisk has everything he wants. Daredevil needs an army. Jessica Jones was recently just confirmed to be in Season 2, which could be the green light for other Defenders to be introduced in Season 2. I haven't seen the Defenders, but maybe I have to tap in now. So yeah, there's some pretty exciting stuff coming in the world of Daredevil next year. And then with all this massive MCU news, I feel like the Punisher special has kind of gotten overshadowed. This is scheduled to come out like around when Born Again Season 2 comes out, I think. And I'm very excited for this. I mean, more Jon Bernthal Punisher, you can sign me up. This is one of my favorite characters in the MCU right now. And I'm pretty sure they're saying that this is going to be just as dark as the Punisher should be. So I feel pretty good about this. But we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. We should focus on the movie that's just beyond the horizon, the Fantastic Four: First Steps. I, for one, am incredibly excited about this movie. I won't lie, I was a little questionable about some of the casting at first, but after seeing a few of the trailers, I gotta say this movie looks really good. And I'm not even talking about this as like an MCU movie right now. Like, these trailers have me thinking this could be a movie that I'd want to watch without caring about what it did for the MCU. Now, I will say that one shot of Silver Surfer looks a bit questionable. I don't really know what it is, but something just looks off. I don't know if it's shading, CGI, I don't know much about that, but I'm sure it'll look better in the movie. And then it looks like we're finally gonna get a good adaptation of Galactus in live action. So if all else fails, at least we're getting that. We know this movie takes place in a different world than the one we know in the MCU, which has led a lot of people to theorize that in this movie, the Fantastic Four will lose, Galactus will devour their world, and they'll sort of run away to our world and join our heroes. And this theory looks all the more convincing with the post-credit scene of the Thunderbolts, where we actually see the Fantastic Four coming to our world. And that's good. I think they kind of have to lose because we don't want them to win against Galactus in the first movie, and then losing their world kind of gives them a tragic backstory. It gives them a reason to come to our world to interact with the MCU that we know. So I think more likely than not, they are going to lose their world in this movie, but they'll just manage to escape thanks to Reed Richards and his interdimensional travel, or whatever it is. But yeah, it won't be long now until we get our answers. This movie is coming very, very soon. So I know this video has kind of been all over the place, but back to the original question, I think when the Fantastic Four movie comes out, I'm ready to say the MCU is back. Because like we talked about, that would be 3 back-to-back-to-back pretty good projects, with 2 of them that actually matter in terms of setting up the future of the MCU, which doesn't sound like much, but we haven't really gotten stuff like that recently. Most projects to me have kind of just been standalone stories that don't really push the MCU any further, but the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four do seem like projects that will move the needle closer to Avengers Doomsday and the big team-ups. So let me know what you guys think. Is the MCU already back? Or do you agree with me that we need to see Fantastic Four before making that call? Or do you think we need to wait to see Avengers Doomsday? I could definitely understand that with the amount of mid the MCU has given us in recent years, some may think it's going to take more than just 3 good projects to get us back on track. I completely understand that. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions on the Thunderbolts. What do you think about Daredevil Born Again? Are you hyped for Fantastic Four? And what do you think about next year's movies and projects? There is a ton of stuff coming in terms of the MCU, and oddly enough, it's all relatively big stuff, like a Spider-Man movie, an Avengers movie, so a lot of big stuff coming. But with that, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. Let me know what types of videos you want to see next, and I will see you in the next video.